Now I'm going to tell you about the story of Sony ATV so you can see how a publishing company can start with a certain amount of copyrights, make acquisitions and mergers, and over time become an incredibly valuable powerhouse of income. This is the history of Sony ATV Music Publishing. ATV, Associated Television, founded in 1955 in the UK by Lou Grade, who also owned Independent Television, ITV. He bought Pye Records, one of the three largest UK publishing companies, along with EMI and Decca in 1957. He bought the Lennon and McCartney song catalog Northern Songs in 1968. Northern Songs, founded in 1963, was co-owned and administered by Brian Epstein and Dick James, with shares also owned by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. When Epstein died in 1967, James put the company up for sale and Lennon and McCartney failed to buy the company, and it went to Lou Grade and ATV Music Publishing for $2.5 million. Lennon and McCartney sold their shares in ATV in 1969 for $5.7 million. Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono then tried to buy the catalog in 1981 but failed. They were offered the catalog for $40 million to be split with Yoko, $20 million to Yoko, $20 million from McCartney, but Yoko felt it was too expensive. She told Paul she thought she can get it for $5 million. In the early 80s, most of Lou Grade's other businesses were failing, so he sold the company in 1982 to Australian businessman Robert Holmes à Court. At the same time, Michael Jackson was hanging out with Paul McCartney as they were recording Say, Say, Say together, and Paul was teaching him about the publishing income from all the songs that he had written. But he did tell Michael, he said, unfortunately, I don't own the publishing, the copyrights of my songs. I just get the writer's share as a writer, but not the publishing. And Michael told Paul he would buy the Beatles catalog someday. Paul said, aha, great joke. Well, Michael Jackson did, and he did buy the 4,000 song catalog in 1985 for $47.5 million. He put $11 million down in cash and financed the rest. In addition to the Lennon-McCartney catalog, it included songs by Bruce Springsteen, Cher, Elvis Presley, Hank Williams, Little Richard, and the Rolling Stones. Paul McCartney did not bid on it at that time because he felt it was too expensive, even though he was worth $500 million at that time. Michael Jackson used the songs in many commercials, and that upset Paul McCartney. He licensed Revolution, for example, to Nike, among others. In 1995, 10 years after Michael Jackson bought the catalog, the company was merged with Sony and renamed Sony/ATV. 50% to Sony and 50% to Michael Jackson. Sony paid Michael $110 million for his 50% stake. It's already doubled in 10 years. In the company, which was about $175 million in today's dollars. Michael Jackson's own songs were not included in the deal. They were with MyJack Music Publishing. Sony ATV eventually took over the administration of that catalog in August 2012. Warner Chappell had handled it before then. Sony ATV continued to buy other catalogs. Tony Martin's Baby May Music, 600 songs. Country powerhouse Acuff Rose, 55,000 songs for $157 million. Songs by Hank Williams, Roy Orbison, Boudleaux Bryant, and Marty Robbins. Early rock writers Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. Jailhouse Rock, Hound Dog, On Broadway, There Goes My Baby. Famous music of Paramount Viacom, 125,000 songs for $370 million. Hits by Eminem, Shakira, Pink, and Beck. And they signed Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, and Lady Gaga. It then became worth $1.5 to $2 billion. Sony ATV in 2006 obtained an option to buy half of Jackson's estate in the company for $300 million worth of loans, but the purchase option was not exercised at that time. Sony ATV then went on to purchase EMI Music in 2012 for $2.2 billion and 1.3 million songs. That included Motown, Deadmau5, and Sony ATV administers the catalog and owns just under 30%, while the Jackson estate owns 10%. After that, for 14 straight quarters, they have been the #1 publisher in the US. In August 2012, Sony ATV took over the administration rights of Michael Jackson's MyJack catalog. It includes the Sly and the Family Stone catalog and songs by Philadelphia soul legends Kenneth Gamble and Leon Huff, as well as songs made famous by artists such as Ray Charles, Elvis Presley, Aretha Franklin. And it includes the songs Ain't No Stopping Us Now, After Midnight, Ease on Down the Road, Great Balls of Fire, Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher, I Got a Woman, If You Don't Know Me by Now, Love Train, Mr. Bojangles, People Get Ready, Run Around Sue, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and 16 Candles, The Wanderer, What I Say, When a Man Loves a Woman, and You Don't Know Me. In recent years, Sony has been paying an annual dividend of an annual dividend of $23 million to the Jackson estate. Those annual dividends average $15 million over the life of the deal. This means that with the original purchase price of $110 million and $450 million through the years, the estate has collected $560 million for Sony ATV from Sony ATV. Sony ATV triggered the buy-sell clause in his deal and with the Jackson estate in the fall of 2015. On March 14, 2016, the Michael Jackson estate stole their share in Sony ATV for $750 million. The beneficiaries are his three children, Paris, Prince, and Michael Jr. The Jackson estate still owns Michael's recorded masters, the MyJack catalog, Michael's songs, as well as those by Sly and Family Stone, songs by Kenneth Gamble and Leon Huff, and songs made famous by Ray Charles, Elvis Presley, and Aretha Franklin, as well as its 10% stake in EMI. The estate paid off its $250 million in debt. Looking at the investment over time of $47.5 million with $11 million down, the Jackson estate will have earned close to $1.5 billion with the 10% EMI ownership stake. And then, by the way, Paul McCartney worked out a private settlement with Sony ATV in 2017 to regain his copyrights from 1962, 56 years after they were published. So you can see what the value of a publishing company is over time as it builds and acquires catalogs. End of part 7.